just hit the scouts and swap me so I could get me some gear. Soon as I spoke, they knew I wasn't from here. From the south. A getaway to paradise, so it's on, I say. That's why I love it when I'm out in California. Yeah. With all my peeps from the city trying to take me around.
Welcome to the Pimpoholic TV podcast. This is your host, Maal The Pimp, aka MTP. We got a nice show for y'all today. It's gonna be real interesting. You feel me? So, all my people who interested in that cannabis culture, this for y'all right here today. You know what I'm saying? Legalize that. Yeah. I'm waiting on my guests to check in right now. Yeah.
What can I say? They got me out in LA, so it's a brand new day. What can I say? California, What can I say? California, What can I say? California, Maal The Pimp out in LA, so it's a brand new day. A roll call for my West Coast fam, that's right. Cause when they see me, they show California love on sight. Got Rick P stressing again, it's Snoop's tour week. The homie Noah T. Justice on Redondo Beach. Keisha BB, hey lady. It's clear up out in LA, they know you rep Tennessee. With Cannabis sipping on Landon, I'm puffing on gracious. You won't smoke but drinking under the table. That's how he roll. My nigga Polo made me feel like I was home out here. What's up, Jerry Dirty Left? You's an old school player, a hood nigga in a
I see y'all tuning in.
I see you. From nightlife to street life. Homie, show me the action. Maal The Pimp out in LA, so it's a brand new day. I wanna aid the Cannibus to send me on my way. I had that mid-grade from down south, to them it was bad. But I can't forget the fun that I had in California. What can I say? California, What can I say? California.
We vibing. Let me see who we got here. Waiting on my dog to pull up on his camera right quick. My dog, my special guest. He late. He on marijuana time. You gotta forgive him. Latia Brooks, what it do, lady? How you doing? He on marijuana time. That's how I do. You're part of this cannabis culture. You know, we all united up under one marijuana leaf. You feel me? There you go. I see him. I see him right there. I see him. There you go. Time to get it. The goings, what to do, homie? I just sent you an ad, Noah. I just sent it to you, bro.
Maul, what's up, family? What's going down?
T Justice, what it do, homie?
Good to see you, family. Sorry for the delay there.
It's all good. Same to you. Let me introduce how I got in the building, man. This is my dog. We go way back to like 2008 when we was on tour with Snoop Dogg together. You know what I'm saying? We go way back. So we got over like 12 years in this thing. This is my dog right here. How can I say this? The former assistant to Snoop Dogg and Doggy Style Records. The founder of, let me say this, the exotic VSOP Cannabis culture.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
My
Appreciate
dog,
you.
Noah T. Justice. Welcome to Pimpoholic TV, and how you doing, bro?
Man, great. Blessed, Mo. Appreciate you having me on here, Mo. How have you been?
What you smoking on, man? What you smoking on?
Man, this called Moon Juice. It's Tropicana times Mai Tai, so it's a new exotic cross that we did with my boys from Clearwater Genetics. This shit is next level, bro. But the color on it is just next level on it as far as the the tint and the trichomes. I mean, I wish I could get you a better little close up on it, bro. It's amazing. And we got GMO. You know, the company Blazing Susan made this little tray for me, so it spins. You could put all different strains on it. It's pretty dope, bro. So it was a blessing just to kind of brand some things with another company that's doing great things for the industry.
We got to say church. We got to say church on that, huh?
Church, we got to.
Church,
yes, sir.
player
Yes,
up.
sir.
Player up.
Got to, bro.
I know. Let's get right back. Let's get into it, man. We're finna go back to the beginning. Then we're gonna lead up to a few things.
Let's do it.
Noah T. Justice, man. What was you born and raised at, man?
Man, actually born in Colorado, Wheat Ridge, Colorado. I moved to Cali when I was 3, so pretty much raised in Cali, but born in Colorado.
Okay. Hey, matter of fact, when I'm thinking about, hey, your mom's still on, she's still on Redondo Beach.
She is, yes, sir. Yeah, my mom and pops.
All right, gotcha.
For sure.
Gotcha. All right, gotcha.
Yes, sir.
Now, How did the Snoop Dogg how did the Snoop Dogg acquaintance how did it actually happen for you? And so how did y'all meet? How did you actually get on board with being an actual employee at Doggy Style Records?
Yes,
First
sir.
and foremost, how did you get on board with him and being an employee at Doggy Style? And second, what was your job title and responsibility? So that's kind of a two-part question.
Yeah, definitely. No, it was one of those who you know but what not, what type of situations. And so I was able to get blessed with my cousin who was on the Saved by the Bell cast. He had told me, hey, come out to, these meetings and stuff. I'm with Ice Cube, with Ice T, with Snoop Dogg, with, the West Coast Pioneers, and I want to get you in the game. And at the time I was doing auto detailing, so I told Snoop's producer, Dave Aaron, rest in peace to my brother. He
Shout out
passed
to
a little
rest in
while.
peace, Dave. Rest in
Yes,
peace,
sir.
Dave.
But he wanted me to be his personal assistant and do a detailing for his cars. So I started off as Dave Aaron's personal assistant through my cousin, and then he was going to a lot of Snoop Dogg birthday parties and doing a bunch of super cool things that I was like, man, I got to get in on it, man. How can I get in with Snoop and kind of go to a few parties and kind of network? And he was like, man, I'm gonna bring you to something. So it took a couple years, to work with him and get to that level where he put that trust in me to come to a couple parties, and then one thing led to another. I went to Snoop Dogg's party at his house in Claremont, and he was like, "Hey man, I got some different openings. I'm gonna hook you up with my assistant tour manager, or my tour manager at the time, Ricky Palomino. Shout out to my boy Ricky. He put me
Shout out to
on
Rick.
basically saying, hey, I could put you on as my assistant tour production manager with Snoop. So if you want to get on, let's roll." And I was like, man, I'd love to. Favorite rappers, from the 90s, when I was in high school and stuff. So in junior high, even shit. Hey, man, I'd be able to get that chance
Go ahead.
was a huge blessing. So I worked with alongside of Ricky Palomino as his assistant tour manager for the first tour. It was as We the West, How the West Was Won tour with Ooey and the Game and Snoop Dogg, and led to a couple of things. And Snoop saw my movement and my hustle. And one thing that did come into play was that he kind of grasped me with an action that had happened. I crashed a tour bus. I was the only guy, I think, in the history of tours to crash a tour bus, and it was because our tour bus guy, he was super cool, but he was lazy and wanted to sleep extra on the tour. So I'm over here trying to say, okay, if you need me to move the bus sometime, I got you covered. Next thing I know, I'm smoking a blunt at the Syracuse, New York College, and we're in the tour bus. We just finished, and he's like, man, come on, I got to move the bus, get out of here. So I got to move the bus. Hit the corner a little too tight, and I thought it was a little tree branch, but it was a stop sign. It had caught the back fender and kind of jackknifed the tour bus. And Ricky came out of the because he was in the bunk sleeping. He came out, man, what are you doing? Hold on, stop the bus. Man, it was hilarious. And I said, all right, hold on. Well, I was trying to move it because if we would have got blocked in, we're not getting to the next show. I'm just trying to do the deed of
Right.
a good thing. And the tour bus guy, so his name was Tom. He was like, man, I'm gonna show you how to drive this baby. But it was hilarious, but kind of a bad move at the same time. I was trying to do a good deed. So the next thing I know, man, I'm like thinking, how am I going to make up for this? Because Snoop's like, I need you to pay $35,000 for deductible. If not, I'm gonna have to let you go. And I'm thinking, man, how can I make up? So I'm praying, just every night, thinking, how can I get better and how can I make up for this mistake? Next thing I know, we're in Atlanta, Georgia, at the So Def Jermaine Dupri's after party, and God told me, don't drink, don't smoke, you're security tonight. So I get up on the top of the couches, and I'm like, hey, I'm watching anybody around Snoop. Most of the bigger security are like watching, all the men. Something tells me, watch the girls. I'm watching the girls, and this girl goes to make a move with Snoop's bag. Was like, man, I'm out of here. I'm taking your bag. And I'm like, wow, you got to be kidding me. So I yell, Big Mooch, grab her. He was one of the security guards. He barely got her by the collar of her shirt, and she said, ah! She started screaming, gave the bag over to Snoop. Snoop gave it to me. And then the next morning, he was like, hold that for the rest of the night. The next morning, he called me on the bus, was like, hey, man, I never had a white boy get down like you in my life. You're now my personal assistant. You're going to roll with me on the private jet. We're rolling from New York City to London. I mean, it was amazing. So it was kind of a blessing that happened overnight. And the next move I know, or that I knew, I was on the Ice Cube album, Laugh Now, Cry Later. No, Dog saying, go and break it down, go and split a blunt, go and roll another blunt, Noah roll it up. He's putting me in the track, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. This is it was a really life-changing experience, but a huge blessing for Snoop to put me on like that, But I felt like it was really my hustle, my ambition to really just take it to that next level of everything that I did on the road, you know, for him, you know, as a personal assistant. And then I went the extra length to go get armed, you know, so I got an armed guard license for 26 states. I was moving, you know, everywhere with him. I was armed everywhere we went. So it was a huge blessing for him to have an armed assistant and somebody just of a good, trustworthy statute of what I am, you know. So it was a blessing, bro. I really had a great time, and meeting you and meeting with a bunch of you know, just great individuals on tour was a huge blessing to really open up, you know, my eyes to the whole world. You know, I went from, you know, New York to Iceland to London. I mean, Italy. It was life changing. I've been on the private jet twice, and you know, I'll never forget Snoop saying, "Man, roll up a blunt." And I'm like, "Man, we're on the plane. Are you sure we're good?" "Yeah, come on." And the pilot's like, "Hey, we're on cruise control. I got you. Let me get you an ashtray." I'm like, "Wow, this next level." So, you know, things like that is what I'm really thankful for. And it's life changing. That's really why I started Exotic. Is, you know, I've lived an exotic lifestyle thanks to Snoop Dogg, and you know, I've seen a lot of exotic places, a lot of exotic weed, you know, a lot of exotic women, and a lot of exotic weather. I love it, you know. So it really, one of my things is bringing the best exotic marijuana to the game on a consistent level as far as quality and clean products. So we can get more into detail, but yeah, that's really the life on the road with Snoop Dogg, you know.
We're gonna get now. I got to piggyback off what you just said. I got to give credit where it's due. First, with Dave Aaron, rest in peace, Dave.
Yes, sir.
And my dog Rick P. Me and Rick just talked last week. But
blessing, yes, sir.
That's why I got to say what you said. Both of those dudes are dudes that are really they really stand by their word. You know what I'm saying? What I mean by that, the first time I ever met Snoop and came on tour with Snoop,
yeah,
that was through Dave. Dave, just like Dave brought you around, yep. Dave the one that brought me around and introduced me to Snoop. Huge. I met Dave when I was in college at MTSU, Middle Tennessee State University. We met,
yes, sir,
during the studio session that he was recording me, and he told me this was in May, like the summertime. He told me, yeah, man, I'm flying back to LA tomorrow, but next time we go out on tour with Snoop, I'm gonna call you so you can come and meet him. I was like, okay, cool. But in my mind, I'm thinking, yeah, right, he ain't finna fucking call me. Literally 2 months later, he called me. Hey, we're in Atlanta. We're on tour with the Red Hot Chili Peppers. You want to come down here? Fucking right, I'll be there. Yeah. I came down, and now that I know how strict Snoop security is, it was a blessing that I was even let on the bus.
100%.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
They brought me on the bus. You know what I'm saying? Snoop smoked with me, and everybody just embraced me on the strength of me being with Dave. That was my first time around. The second time Dave brought me around was for the Rock the Mic tour. You feel me? I was on the Rock the Mic tour for a few days with them. So this is my second time. So now instead of hey, this is Maal, it's like, hey, what's up? You back? You back, cuz? You back? It was more like that.
Yeah.
Family, my third time, or fourth time, was New Orleans. For All-Star Weekend 2008, that was in New Orleans. Dave called me to come to that. I get to that show, I meet Rick. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I meet Rick for the first time. Me and Rick dap up, we communicate, we switched numbers, we stayed in touch. A few months later, Rick called me. I want to say y'all was in North Carolina or somewhere. He was like, hey, we're going to be in Atlanta next week. Are you in Chattanooga? You want to come? I got an extra spot on the tour bus. You want to jump on? Motherfucking right you are. Yeah, here I come. I get down there and jump on that tour, and that's why I meet you at. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
That was the Unity tour. Snoop Dogg, Fiction Plane, and 311.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that was a great tour.
That's why I met you at.
Yeah.
You feel me? But
yes,
that
sir.
was on the strength of Rick. Yep. I met Rick on the strength of Dave. You 100%. Know what I'm saying? So,
yeah.
Shout out to them two dudes right there. Definitely, man. Definitely. For sure.
Yeah, much love.
Next question. Next question. What other artists have you dealt with or affiliated with or met through your affiliation with Snoop?
You know, shoot, you name it. You know, the biggest festival I think we did was the Live 8 Festival. It was Elton John, Michael Jackson, John McCarthy. I mean, we're talking about some of the biggest legends from, you know, pop to R&B to, you know, to soul. I mean, everything. I mean, it was a blessing. But I really met pretty much everybody from, you know, Rihanna to Jay-Z to P. Diddy to, you know, Paul Wall's a good friend of mine out in Houston. Shout out to Paul Wall. You know, and Wiz Khalifa, you know, great friend of mine. We're looking to do some deals together, and you know, just really trying to take over, you know, with a lot of different people that I've met over the years. But yeah, you know, to answer your question, just pretty much everybody that's an A-list artist, I've met mostly all of them except for the newer guys, and it's a blessing. They're all great people.
Gotcha. All right, now, you smoking that good shit. So my next question is this. outside of, man, we all smoke that weed. You was out there in Cali. That's weed central. But how did you actually get into the cannabis business? You know what I'm saying? How did you actually get into that? What was your first steps taking to get into the cannabis business?
Shout out to Kenji Bushima and my boy Travis, from the Dr. Green Thumb family from Cypress Hill. Being on tour with Snoop Dogg, one of the biggest artists that I met as well. One of my idols was Be Real from Cypress Hill. I heard
Shout out to
Black
Be Real.
Sunday in 1992, and was jamming to that. And so when I got on with Kenji and Travis, these guys are some of the guys that run some of the biggest hydro facilities and basically are known as the Hydro Kings, and some of the originators that started the OG Kush strains and brought some of the best product to the market as far as West Coast is concerned, and really worldwide. And the bigger picture that I have going is that with Kenji, they taught me basically seed to sale, from the black market standpoint. But Prop 215, we still had, licenses as far as our permits are concerned, making sure that everything's on point. But we were really under the Prop 215, having, patient scripts on the wall, making sure that the plant counts match the amount of patients that we have, so on and so forth. From there, I wanted to start something in Colorado, and I started out as basically a trimmer out here. I got my badge in 2011, and I'd been growing for probably 10 years prior to that. And in Colorado, you really have to prove yourself in any market. You got to prove yourself to show what you can do. So I started as a trimmer at $12 an hour out here in 2011 when I first got my key badge, and I just had so much motivation to start my own brand. I was tired of working with teams that really didn't believe in each other or didn't have the same common goals as myself, and so I really expanded to try to get a good partner. Partners, they come a dime a dozen. A lot of them are super greedy, scandalous. They don't even smoke weed, but they want to invest $1 million. But they're really, at the end of the day, they don't see the end game being as helping patients, changing the game with bringing the best quality, not growing Blue Dream and Maui Wowie and garbage. To me, those strains are, so old and garbage today. We're on gelatos, we're on wedding cakes, we're on ice cream cakes. We're on some stuff that's on a whole nother level that's crossed through some of the best breeders in the world. Shout out to Seed Junkies, Capillator, Clearwater Genetics, all my boys that we mess with on a high level that do great things as far as the genetics game goes, are people that we look up to.
Now, wait.
Look up to and do a lot of work with.
Now, I said this in the beginning, but I want you to say it for yourself. What is the name of your brand? And so first, what's the name of your brand? Say that. What's the name of your brand?
So it's Exotic VSOP Cannabis, just like the Hennessy drink. We went off that to say very superior old plant because of all of our genetics come from the original genetics, from stuff that's been around since 1992, but we still have those in the genes. We're back crossing them, we're breeding them, and to make that newer stuff, and that's where really all this stuff comes from. The cherry pie, the Girl Scout cookies, all that stuff is back crossed with certain strains that have been around for a long time, so, and there's always that new stuff that they're doing too with pollination and different, breeding processes. But yeah, that's what we're about, is Exotic VSOP Cannabis, for our name, and that's what we stand for.
All right. And again, before I get into show that tray right there in your face for the people who just not tuning in.
For sure.
Show that tray that's right there that's full of all kind of different weed.
Yes, sir.
It look like a motherfucking weed buffet. Look at that. That shit crazy.
Appreciate you, brother.
It's like a marijuana buffet right there.
Yes, sir.
You can't beat that.
And shout out to Blaze and Susan for the tray. They made this for us custom, put our logo on there. It's got a dab mat, so people that dab or do hash hits, we got all that ready to roll right here. So it's pretty nice on what they've been inventing over the years. Smoker friendly, different things. So it's pretty cool.
Man, whoever Blaze and Susan is, shout out to you. I don't know you, but much love from what I'm looking at right there. Salute. You feel me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now,
Blazy Susan, good looking.
Now, I want you to educate. Now, this for the people who don't know. Really, you finna educate me on this. Now, when it comes to weed, all of us, we smoke it, and then dudes in the street, we sell it. But now, you on the legal aspect of it. So, what does it take to actually run the Exotic VSOP cannabis company? Like, how many, is it you? How many people are working up under you as far as the staff? Like, how many people consist of that to make it actually happen?
Sure. So, in any cultivation facility, In any cultivation facility, we have a couple different steps. Being one would be, the main investor. My investor and partner is Alan Bonsett. He owns Grow Ray LED lighting company. Nobo is the brand. So as far as like the license and what our dispensaries are, it's Nobo, but the product that goes into the jars and our premier line is exotic VSOP cannabis. We'll also be having some, couple Nobo good products and a couple lines for the Nobo side. And just so you know, or if you're wondering what Nobo stands for, it's for North Boulder. Boulder, Colorado is known for having some of the most fire weed in the world since, back in the 90s. And I mean, really shit, back in the 60s, they had some fire up in Boulder. So it's really known for hippies and, super good connoisseur marijuana grown up there. So we got behind that. And my boy Alan owns, quite a few licenses in multiple states, which we can kind of go through. But we're looking to expand to multiple states as we speak.
Okay. Now, let me ask this: you out in Colorado?
Yes, sir.
Now I know as far as LA, Snoop has his own weed strand out there in LA. I think I see Corrupt got the Moon Rocks popping out there in LA. And I think, if I remember right, I think Trey D got his own brand out there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
but this is
Sunrise.
LA. What made you decide to go relocate to Colorado instead of opening up shop in LA, which is weed central?
That's a good question, because to me, California invented it. Colorado, the rest of the states are mostly following what California invented. And
Right.
the reason to answer your question is that Colorado came on the market prior. In 2009, they came open for medical compliance, and they were able to open up dispensaries. They were able to open up cultivation facilities. I knew California was going to be years and years behind that, just the way the government is ran. Too many politics. It's a really huge state compared to Colorado. So we had a little jump start there. Once I heard that it was legal, was really my motivation to get to Colorado. And so just to touch back on why I started as a trimmer at $12 an hour, because I knew at the end game was, being that lead cultivation director, and then started my own brand, and that's where I kind of started up to and led to, is that meeting Alan and getting a good partner behind me that really, believed in the vision, believed in giving me ownership and equity instead of just using me as a regular employee. And then believing in my brand, let me start my brand and just make it as big as possible. So that's where we're at as far as me and his partnership and what we're doing.
Okay. Let me ask you this. Now, say if I'm a guy that's living in one of these states where it's legal. So it's not legal here. We wish it was. If I get caught with this right here, I'm going to jail. You follow what I'm saying? Point blank.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to get 1.5 years probation for something this simple. You know what I'm saying? So it's not legal in Tennessee. Now, for the states where it's legal at, if I'm a guy that wants to do what you're doing, I want to get into the business, what's the actual steps I take to get into actually opening a marijuana company or dispensary, or either opening a company that sells to the dispensaries? What's the procedure you go to get there? What's the steps?
Yeah, so in order to start a business, you're obviously going to want to have a good team. What I would recommend is first start with your city and county of your compliance and what territory they're allowing you to have cultivation and or dispensaries in. Once you're at that point of moving forward with the county, there's either going to be an application process where you'll have to fill out in order to get a cultivation license. They have a dispensary license, and they have a MIP license. MIP license is medical infused products. So anytime you see edibles, if you see hash, anything that's in drinks or in candies, any of that stuff, that's going to fall behind a MIP license. So when you go to apply for a license, there's 3 different licenses. Once you figure out what license you want, there's a cost. Obviously, it's anywhere from $25,000 up to $100,000. Some people are selling for more if they've already purchased it and want to do a resale. But on a startup, it's usually about $25,000 for their license. And then you've got to get the real estate. You've got to get your lease, making sure that the owner of the real estate is compliant and okay with you to do the cultivation there. Once you get that, then you can really apply your license to that address, and you can get going as long as you have compliance and passing through with fire department, the city and county and all that good stuff. You're ready to go. So it really comes to play with money. It comes to play with your city ordinance, county ordinance, and state ordinance like you're talking about. I can't wait till they open up out there. But I just feel like every state is different. But my plan and suggestion would be to, start on a, figuring out your city and county compliance, making sure that you're in the right county and city, and then you can move forward on the next steps.
All right. All right. Now, as an outsider looking in, I want to talk about the pros and cons of getting into the cannabis game. Now, just the pros of it, it just looks so fun. We can just get a bunch of weed, like you got right there, and just smoke, smoke, smoke. Don't go to jail and sell when we want to. But what's the downside of? What are some of the headaches or the cons that come with getting into the cannabis culture?
So I would say, the number one con and problem, with the cannabis culture is, getting with the right team and making sure that you do a good job on your control of your plants. A lot of the people in the industry are putting out such contaminated product. Literally, what you'll do a test at a facility. They'll fail the test. They'll say this bud fails the test. They'll come back and they'll take this bud, right? And they'll this one passed, this one failed, this one passed. They'll go back and retest this one as the failed one, and then they'll go sell it all to the dispensary. So now you've got some past stuff that's clean marijuana. You've got some failed stuff that has pesticides and mold and who knows what else in it. And then you're not going to control your market, and then also you're going to get shut down and or fined by the state because it's just completely illegal. But the problem is there's so many people doing that that it's hard for them to come in and get everybody. But we just had a couple of licenses here get taken and shut down for that reason. So one of my biggest things is have a good team, do a good IPM treatment. There's a management for insecticide, pesticide, mold mitigation, things that we do as far as spraying the plants at the right time, treating them with the right things, not spraying them with chemicals. I mean, there's a lot of big things that we focus on at Exotic VSOP, and there's some other great brands out here that really do a good job on their IPM as well. But that's probably one of the worst things I'd say. One of the cons when people get into the business is not knowing what they're doing, not enough airflow, not enough different climate controls, and then they're going to have problems within their plants, and then they've got to try to fail the testing or pass the testing. We do heavy metal testing now in all of our product as well, so it's not just insecticide, pesticides, and molds. It's everything. We've got the insecticide, we've got a fungicide, we've got a heavy metals. Just the list goes on. So they're real stringent upon making sure that the product is clean and that you do a good job. But like I said, there's people jumping through hoops.
All right. Let me ask you this. As a smoker, if I'm out in Colorado, California, anywhere where it's legal, why would I want to come to the dispensary and buy some weed as opposed to buying it from the dude off the street? What's the difference?
I would say the dude on the street is going to be more risk. You're going to have more selection when you go into the store as far as, high quality, potent strains. Now, not to say that, the guy on the streets don't have fire on the black market. That's where it all started from. So don't get me wrong. But when it comes to, when you talk about, Insane, which is Dr. Green Thumb, when you talk about Jungle Boys, when you talk about Nameless Genetics, when you talk about these guys in California that are crushing the game, these are the people that I would say to go to their stores. But there's a lot of people that on the black market that I'm sure would push some of the similar stuff. But I would say you're going to have a better opportunity at the dispensaries. You're going to have less problems with the police, because when you leave, you're in a safety you're in a safe bag. So these safeties seal off for the child proof, and you could take these out of the stores, put it in your trunk, drive home safe, not have to worry about the police. If they do pull you over, you just show them the receipt, show them that it's still in the sealed bag, and they're not going to take your product. So I think that there's some pros and cons, and more pros on the dispensary side. Now that it's legal, we might as well take advantage of it and protect ourselves across the board.
How much is that right there? What's it, about a pound right there in that bag?
Yeah, this is our pound
That
bags.
bag.
Yep. Yeah, these are our pound bags.
All right. All right, next question. I'm going to piggyback off what I just asked you. In your opinion, do you feel like now, since dispensaries are up and running and they're popping, do you feel like the dudes in the street are taking a loss now? Or are they still able to get their money even with the dispensaries popping, in your opinion?
In my opinion, I think that the black market will never stop. They're still going to be there no matter what, and they're still crushing it on every level. I feel like all the people that I talk to and love and care about, and even people that that I don't even know, I tell them, hey, if there's a way for you to change and go into the legal market and pay some taxes and be able to move forward and live and sleep good at night and not have to worry about it, it's worth it. You know what I'm saying? And so I try to preach and push that to everybody that I can to move towards the legal side. It's just, I mean, we're protected. Although the police aren't doing a good job right now, and I don't believe in any of the police brutality, I just can't stand it. I do believe that, they're our heaviest backing when it comes down to calling them. If we have a problem, that's who we get to call. They're coming to the grow. They're coming fully armed. I mean, it's different. So it helps with the backing of having a good force behind you, being able to sleep at night. We're paying taxes, and it's a great thing, I think. And so if I can push that to everybody, it's a game changer at the end of the day.
Okay, I'm glad. Let me ask you this: what kind of what kind of problem can you have at a dispensary that make you want to call the police? What? Somebody what?
So you really would think everybody's calm and cool and all that, but to preach on like the COVID situation, they're coming in heavily armed with AK-47s and ready to take out the bud tenders. One of the guys, he was 23 years old. He was actually getting ready. He had just got out of the Marines. He's 23 years old. His wife's pregnant. I think he had 2 kids. He was a security guard at the dispensary in Aurora, and I think it was called the Green Cross. And the next thing he knew, 2 or 3 guys came in heavily with ski masks and heavily armed, came in, shot him right in the head, shot him twice in the chest, ran through the dispensary part, got maybe like $1,000 worth of marijuana, killed this guy, took his life, a father's life, and then ran out. And so you wouldn't think that people are really trying to do that because all of the cameras and the backed up by the police and
right.
But they're still out here robbing. And I mean, just in the last probably 2 months, we probably had over 15 dispensaries robbed at gunpoint. And a couple are were pretty serious. So it's one of those things where they're still coming after the money. They're still coming to break into grows. It's just like anything. It's a commodity and people want it. But we try to take as much security precaution as possible.
All right, now, man, you talk on the phone the other day. You told me that you finna relocate to Michigan and open a dispensary out there. Why Michigan? Why did you choose to relocate to Michigan? And what kind of future do you see in that?
Yeah, Michigan. Well, the reason why we were going to relocate out there is it's just a huge market. It's a huge opportunity. You've only got maybe like 3 or 4, 5 major brands out there right now, and it's just a super open market. Oklahoma's an open market too, but when you talk about Michigan and Oklahoma's allowing 1 million dispensaries, 1 million cultivation facilities, where Michigan has a set number that they're going to just cut it off and say, you know what, this is where we're going to say that the number is. We're not allowing any more dispensaries. So it makes that monopoly a little bit higher or a lot higher as far as the numbers go and profit margins. My partner Alan actually has the closest dispensary to Notre Dame University, and then we have like 6 others throughout Michigan that we're going to be opening, as soon as probably September, October at the latest. Our first one will be open in August. But we're trying to just take over as much as we can, especially bringing some great quality and good exotic strains to Michigan. And the biggest thing for us is one of our cultivation facilities in Michigan is in a area that I see a great 85 to 90% African American rate being hired on to our staff, and it's always been one of my goals. I've never wanted to be one of those guys that our company that has 90% white and 10% black. I'm one of the guys I'd love to have the brown, black, the white, all of us together are so much more powerful.
Respect.
We have way more knowledge, so it's one of those things that with my company and our company, as far as Nobo and Exotic in Michigan, 85 to 90% will be all African American, and it's something that I'm just really proud about. It's something that I want to help out and change that look that, there is still a lot of good white folks out there. I'm fully white, but people call me Oreo. You're a black folk. Right. Don't even trip. All that. But
you my dog, bro.
You know
my
what
dog.
I'm saying? But I've always looked. I've got a black niece. I've got a full black grandma that was married into our family. When I was super young. So it's one of those things that it just means a lot to me to keep that heritage and keep that love. because I feel like hate is always taught. It's never, in you. You really got to be taught that. So
That's true. That's
one of
true.
those things for Michigan
That's
that's
true.
super, super powerful, and I'm really pumped about.
Let me ask you, I got to piggyback off what you just said about basically hiring employees, black, white, or whatever.
Yes, sir.
So let me ask you this. So if I want to get a job at a weed shop, what, I need a college degree? Do I need a criminal rap sheet to show that listen, if I'm filling out an application for the weed shop, what do they look at and say, yeah, he's qualified? What do it take? You feel me?
Believe it or not, hey, if you're good with customer service, you got a good smile, and you love marijuana, you're hired. It's like, it's really not one of those things where you have to have a degree, or you got to go to school, and you have to have the horticulture degree. To be honest, to me, the black market growers, the people that really invented this and started this in the early 90s, Adam Dunn, all my brothers that really have been putting this down since
Right.
early 90s, those are the best growers, the best cultivators. The guys that went to college that say I have a degree and all this shit and I'm a horticulturalist, those guys are the most terrible. That's the thing with the investment part is that, you've got to have trials and tribulations. You got to really have those failures. You've got to have those wins and losses as we see, and a lot of those guys through college haven't had that. The guys on the black market, we've seen it all. And one of those, that's what I really give respect to, because that's where I came from, was really that, underground black market, watching over your shoulder, almost getting killed at gunpoint type of deal. So now that I'm on the real legal side, I give so much, props and respect to those that have made it to this side as well, and even the ones that are still doing on the black market. I love them, but I just try to push people to, expand your money, and get it right.
Gotcha.
Yes, sir.
And just to let people know what kind of money is into this cannabis game, you don't have to give your personal salary, but tell me the number that the company did last year, the one that you told me over the phone. How much did the company do last year? The number you gave me over the phone when we talked.
Yeah, so the company last year we did 131 million, and then in Michigan, our development company did over 500 million just on kind of project management, selling properties. So it's the next million and billionaires game. I'm sorry, let me fix that. It's the next $1 billion game, but it's only for millionaires and billionaires. All the investors that I've dealt with, if you don't have $1 million or $1 billion, don't think about getting in, because if you got 100,000, 200,000, and $500,000, it just won't get you very far. It's an expensive game. It's one of those things where you really got to have deep pockets, that long bread, if you know what I'm talking about. So one of the things is a lot of the investors will come in and they'll try to have like a mom and pop structure, and some of them have blown up and done a great job, but you'll never take it to that level that a billionaire can take you to. And so I'm just blessed to have those type of infrastructures around us. And just to let you know, starting salaries and hourlies are like $12 to $15 for trimmers. Some are up to $20 an hour, 25. Some get paid by the pound, so we still have that rate going too. And then growers are anywhere from 45,000, 60,000. If you're a assistant. If you're a lead cultivator, you should be up in the 150, 120 minimum, but 150 to 370 is what I've heard is like the highest, 370 per year. It's huge money. It's great money. And it's one of those things that it takes a lot of hard labor. It takes a lot of dedication, time to perfect what you do. And in order to get that plant perfect and have beautiful quality consistently, it takes a good team and a good management skill, So we try to specialize in that here.
Do you feel like the cannabis market can be oversaturated? Like, damn, it's too many fucking dispensaries. It's just too many. So with that being said, some of them are gonna take a loss, or is it to the fact that as long as you got a dispensary and you're doing good, you're gonna make the money?
Yeah, to answer that, Maul, there is way too many in Oklahoma, and that's why we took a step off Oklahoma, and that's why we're moving towards Michigan. We also just applied for 16 licenses in Illinois. My dad's from there, and I got a lot of great family from Chicago and throughout Illinois, so we're really pumped and proud about that. Our cultivation facility is already built out, permits and licensing. So. But to answer your question, yeah, there's, so oversaturation in Colorado right now, too many dispensaries. And there's oversaturation in Oklahoma, in Oregon, in Washington. You talk about these states that aren't really doing too well right now. because of the oversaturation of you know, too many dispensaries and not enough grows. And if there is enough grows, they're just not good enough quality. You know, so it's kind of where that falls.
Now, I got one more question, unless there's something else you want to say. I'm asking questions off of shit that I'm hearing you saying. I heard you say earlier, well, a few minutes ago, that this is something that you need at least $1 million for. You gotta have those deep pockets. You can't be a dude who's worth $100,000 or $200,000. This can't be the game for you, right?
Yes, sir.
So, with that being said, a few minutes ago, you said a license costs like $25,000 at the least, right?
Yes, sir.
So, say if I'm a dude who just got about $200,000 or $300,000, you mean to tell me I can't spend 25,000 getting the license and then another X amount of thousands paying for facility and rent and all that shit, and then make 500,000 off of it? I have to have $1 million to invest in this.
You know, depending, you know, let me correct that. You know, depending on the size
You
of
understand what I'm asking
structure.
you?
Yeah. No, of course, I'll correct that because, you know, depending on the size of structure and the size of building that you're going to get, you definitely can get something on a lower level and you know, any kind of consultation or any kind of consulting. I'll let them know that, hey, you're going to need deep pockets for one, the nutrient costs, for two, the build out costs, because you got to build out all the
You break it. You froze up. He froze up, y'all. But I hope y'all been getting educated off what we've been talking about. Oh, what we got here?
Question: do you have stock? Where could I invest? What up, Noah? Gonna wait him to come back in right quick, y'all. But I hope y'all been getting educated on this marijuana culture that we all are a part of. You know what I'm saying? He been schooling me on a bunch of shit. I got my weed. You know what I'm saying? I'm about to pop up. Yeah, I think he went. I think he tapped out on us, man. I think he tapped out. I'm giving him a few more minutes. Y'all leave me some feedback though. What y'all think? Alphabet Adams, what it do? Did y'all learn something today about this marijuana game? Outside of what we know on the street, did y'all learn something? Shit, for real. What it do, Nick Ortega? Brenda Lyra, how you doing? Nisha Boo, what's going on, lady? What up, Travis? Ace Boog in the building. Jimmy Hill, DeWanna Taylor. See y'all. Vanessa and Jose. What it do, Vanessa and Jose? How y'all doing? Kaliza, my weed head partner from college. How you doing, lady? Dexter Bell. Courtney Dossett. Well, yeah, like he might have done, his phone might have some technical difficulties. So, yeah, if that's the case, yeah, we might be all done for the day. But again, that was my guy right there. That was my guy, Noah T. Justice. Me and him go way back to 2008. Former assistant to Snoop Dogg and Doggy Style Records, you know, founder of Exotic VSOP Cannibus. You know, that's my dog right there. We met on tour with Snoop, but that's my homeboy. You feel me? So I appreciate everybody for tuning in. You know what I'm saying? This is the Pimpoholic TV podcast. You never know who I'm going to have on here. So each time you see me go live for the podcast, make sure you tune in. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Maal The Pimp. Go to YouTube, subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is Pimpoholic TV. Thank y'all for tuning in. Now holla at y'all. Preach.